In a previous quick tip, I showed you how to get color harmony intuitively just by selecting a mother color. In this quick tip, I want to show you how to achieve color harmony scientifically. One of the best ways to come up with any color scheme or working with in order to achieve color harmony is to work with the color wheel. I think by the color wheel, and I'd like to teach you the value of thinking by the color wheel. Now, color harmony can be achieved by using a limited palette. In fact, the more limited your palette, the greater chance you have of getting color harmony. So the way we can limit our palette scientifically by arranging or choosing colors from the color wheel. And I want to show you a few little ways. Now, we call these color schemes when we do this. And I will put a little plug in my book, Finding Freedom to Create, on page 96, or beginning on page 96, I give a full description and explanation of 11 different color schemes. So if you're really interested in exploring color schemes, you might check that out on Amazon. But back to what we're doing here. All right, how do we do this? First of all, I want to introduce you to the triad scheme. Now, what a triad scheme means that you choose 3 colors that are on the color wheel. But those colors need not be just 3 colors. They need to be 3 colors that have a relationship. So, a few possibilities for relationship for the color for a triad. One common one is one that almost everybody knows about, and that's the primary triad, and that is yellow, red, and blue. You see, they form a triangle visually when you look at them together, and that's why they're called a triad 3. So that's one. But the thing about the primary triad, be careful about it. And when you're using a primary triad, you want to be sure that you have your mixtures kind of low intensity, because the local colors by themselves, without reducing the intensity, really don't do anything for each other. The reason for that is neither of these colors has in it either other color. They're all independent, so they have to be mixed in order to work. But you can build a wonderful palette of colors just by using the primary triad. Another really good triad, though, that I'm going to show you several things you can do with it, or discuss at least. The secondary triad, which would be the orange, green, and violet. Now there's a different one, because orange has both the red and the yellow in it. And you see where I'm going here. Green has both yellow and blue in it. The violet has both red and blue in it. So when you have the primary triad, you actually have 6 colors mixed together that you're working with. And the primary triad makes a wonderful triad to use to get color harmony, because it has those colors already inherent in each of the colors that you would be using. Another really wonderful triad is a tertiary triad, and that is the one that, and there are 2 tertiary triads on the color wheel, whereas there are only one each of the others. But one tertiary triad is right here, would be yellow, red, orange, blue, green, and blue, violet, or yellow, orange, blue, green, and red, violet, or yellow, orange, blue, violet, and red, violet. You see what you can do here? You can pick and choose from the tertiary colors. You can pick and choose the triad. Now, I would like to just guide you through. Let me say this, that triads are not the only kind of limited palette, but I want to limit this discussion to triads. I want to carry you through 3 photographs and show you how we might select a limited palette for color harmony in order to translate or in order to interpret these photographs. Now, here's the first one. There's a tiger lily, and you can see it's made of oranges. Mostly the colors are oranges and greens. All right, so that's where you start. What's the main color you're working with, or either of those two colors, and you build your triad on that. So, for example, you could build your triad on orange, or orange. Let's start with orange right here. You could build your triad on orange. Well, if you wanted to build a secondary triad, that's kind of obvious. So you could use a triad of orange and green, and there's your other color in the scene. Orange and green, and then orange, violet, and green. Violet then would be a color that you could use to darken your oranges as well as darken your greens, and then those working together and also mixed together would give you a wonderful triad for doing that particular scene. There's another triad though that you could use there that is kind of a fun one, and that's called the split complement triad. Now what the split complement triad does, it takes a set of complements, that's two colors opposite each other on the color wheel, we split one. So if we're taking orange and blue, for example, we could split orange, and our triad would be red, orange, yellow, orange, and blue. So there's a triad that we could use for interpreting this scene. We have the yellow orange, we have the red orange, we see those variations there. When we mix blue with the yellow orange, we would get the greens. There would be somewhat muted greens, but they would be in harmony. And so we can mix back and forth among those three. There's a possibility. You could do it another way. You could take green. So we have green here. If we split green, we would split, you see red here is the complement of green. You split it, you get red, orange, and red, violet. Now, that would give you a different sort of thing, because the red orange you're going to interpret more as red orange. It might not be, it may be stretching the point to use it for this particular scene, but that's to show you that you can move around the color wheel and find a split complementary triad that can often function to give you color harmony. Now, go to another scene here. You see this scene is relatively uninteresting. It's just green woods with the more neutral trees. So what could you do there in order to make that scene more interesting? Well, one wonderful triad for working a summer green, spring green, is the tertiary triad. Now let me show you how that works. So we have the yellow greens right here, and then we have the red orange right here, and then we have the blue violet right there. Well, there's one tertiary triad. If we're using the yellow green, and if you can use the blue violet to darken and get the variations. You can use the red orange to kind of lean it a little bit warmer, and then you can use all three of those mixtures to get the grays. So you can see that you can take any uninteresting scene, or any scene in which the colors seem uninteresting, and you can expand the range of what those colors can do just simply by choosing a single triad. In this case, a tertiary triad is good, but a split complementary triad is good. I want to show you one other, and that is everybody loves fall scenes, and so you would approach the fall scene the same way. Now the thing that happens in fall scenes far too often that throws the color harmony off is people see those colors as too intense. They think they're seeing yellow, greens, and golds, for example, a lot brighter, a lot more intense than they actually see them. Now, one way to keep those subdued and keep the whole scene harmonized is to choose a limited palette. And so, one way that you might do that, you might say, okay, what two colors am I seeing? So I'm seeing yellow, green, and I'm seeing yellow, orange. So I could choose yellow, green, yellow, orange, and violet. I've got another split complementary triad. It would be a wonderful triad for interpreting that scene. I could mix the violet with the yellow orange here, and that would give me variations of the leaves that I need. That the colors of the leaves on the ground also give variations we see of all those golds in there. And then I can mix the violet with the yellow green here and get variations of the greens that we're seeing. And we could also mix the yellow green with the yellow orange and get those variations that we see where in some cases yellow green leans toward yellow orange, or yellow orange leans towards yellow green. You see, so I've just shown you just a taste of ways to experiment with triads. Now, triads are not the only color schemes. There's the complementary scheme where you just use two colors opposite each other on the color wheel. That can be very effective. And there are also tetrad schemes where you choose four colors that are related on the color wheel. But you see how this could make an hour-long lesson. So I think it would be better if you, in order to explore triads as color schemes for giving you color harmony, just stick to various kinds of triads that you can form. Go play with them. You don't have to make full paintings of these. You know, get yourself little sheets of canvas like this or gesso paper and do little studies where you actually play with the color and the combinations of colors in order to get the best triad for the color the scene that you're interpreting, and at the same time get color harmony. Now, if you enjoyed this quick tip, we have lots of full-length lessons on diamondminds.com addressing color. Lots of our lessons address color. So you might find that interesting. And also, you find that we're making our quick tips now based on your suggestions. So drop us a comment right down here. Tell us what you'd like for me to explore, and we will certainly make a quick tip for you. And there's this quick tip.